This is Armin Sandhu representing Casa de la Familia. I've had the immense pleasure of being part of the domestic violence support groups for the past 5 years. If I could put it in one sentence, what the intention behind creating these wonderful spaces is, it's giving fellow human beings a space, a platform to connect with one another and not feel so alone as they navigate through this new journey, a new path, a new beginning.
Something I wanted to ask you is, can you talk a little bit about the different types of women who come to these support groups? Is is there any type of person that comes, or different things you see? Mm-hmm.
That's a very lovely question, Alexis. I believe the beauty of these spaces is it's like a melting pot. We have a wonderful women all the way, from the age of their early 20s all the way to a woman in their 60s. We have women who have multiple children. We have women who are single, right? So we get such a wonderful pot and a mixture.
Is there any kind of unifying experience that brings them together, whether that's, um, you know, the case in itself? Do they find something that connects them beyond the abuse?
Absolutely. Alexis, I feel the connecting link with all these wonderful humans, all these wonderful women, is they constantly in their life so far at this point have been searching for love, searching for validation outside of themselves. They are putting that happiness, their peace of mind, in other people's hands. And as we know, when we put, our control, when we give it away, whether be it intentionally, unintentionally, we are somewhat setting ourselves up for disappointment. When we don't have the clarity within ourselves, what do I value in life? When I am seeking for a partner, and not necessarily restricting it to a romantic partnership, but just in general, in any relationship, am I clear on what traits I'm looking for in that person? And I feel majority of the times, the wonderful women that we have in these support groups are lacking that clarity of what are the standards of my life? What are some of the boundaries that I need to exercise to protect myself? They always have sadly, sometimes carry the misconception that by having these boundaries, I am coming off as a rude person. They feel guilty about having these boundaries. The fear is instilled within them that if I exercise my boundary, maybe this person will leave me. Maybe they won't want to be in my space anymore. And we educate them very gently that that is okay. The people who truly love you, the people who truly care for you, will never have a problem when you exercise your boundaries. They will actually support it, uplift you, and encourage you to have those boundaries, because it's one of the most beautiful ways to tell yourself, I love you. I respect you. It's a beautiful form of self care, a beautiful expression of self love. So, that definitely I see is a common factor where all these women have not allowed or given themselves the permission to make themselves a priority. Everyone else around them is a priority, but when it comes to them, somehow they end up on the back burner, right? And hence a lot of confusion, a lot of low self esteem, a lot of depression, if you will. So we slowly, piece by piece, remind them, we reintroduce them to their self that, hey, you also are equally important as is everybody else in your life. And you need to start choosing yourself.
How do the women support each other in the groups? Is there any examples or stories that you can give, of course, without giving detail,
Right.
but is there general stories you can give of the women kind of coming together or supporting one another throughout their experience?
Absolutely, Alexis. So, as we know, as humans, certain days weigh heavier on us. Certain weeks are more difficult to get through. So, as we come together every week, very consistently, since we meet once every week, um, if some of the fellow group mates have had a difficult day or they have been feeling stuck, I see them very excitedly looking forward to logging into the group meeting and saying, Armin, I was waiting. I felt so stuck, but I was looking forward to presenting this to my fellow group mates, and we all come together and just present them with a different perspective. Sometimes I feel in life we are looking at a situation with very set lenses, a very set angle. And sometimes, when there are other wonderful people who have walked the same path, they say that, hey, wait a second, turn your angle a tiny bit this way, and you all of a sudden discover there are doors and windows that I wasn't even aware were present because I was so fixated on looking at the situation from this particular angle. So I see the women, when one of them, or some of them, we are struggling or presenting with a difficult time, um, you see a lot of empathy being shown. We see a lot of different perspectives, different ideas being presented to that particular group mate, and by the end of our meeting, the person is feeling once again motivated to keep moving forward.
Does being in a support group lead to individual counseling or vice versa? How do they work together?
So, Alexis, it honestly goes by individual person situation. I see for some people, all they really need is, as I mentioned before, in their personal life, they are not being presented with a safe platform where they can kind of verbalize what is going on, the turmoil's happening inside. We in the support group, we present them with that safe space that, hey, let it all out. You've been carrying this burden. It's time to take that burden and, leave it on the side and ultimately walk away from it. So, for some people, like I said, based on their particular situation or life situation, support group is good enough for them. That is just what they need. For more complicated situations, if you will, and once again, you learn to gauge, right? As you are doing this for such a long time and with experience, as you are hearing their stories, you kind of figure it out that I feel this person would doubly benefit if they are a part of the support group. And the individual will give them a chance to go a bit more deeper. Because as you can understand, with the number of participants we have and the limited time, in group spaces, even though I try my best, but it's simply not possible due to the time limitation, like I said, to really dive deeper into each person's individual situation, right? But in the individual therapy, you definitely get the chance to really go below the surface and try to figure out this struggle that I've been facing, this burden that I've been mindlessly, if you will, carrying. Where did it start from? Where are the roots of this? Where is it stemming from? And individual therapy with the therapist's gentle guidance, hopefully the person is able to understand, right, that this is where this problem started, and then piece by piece trying to figure out what are my best options, how do I navigate through this. So those would be the little differences in the being a part of the support group versus the individual therapy. And once again, like I said, after you listen to the person's story, you kind of are able to once again judge that I feel this person would benefit from the individual and the group therapy, or um, just the support group, right? So you just kind of get the sense. I think that just comes naturally with experience.
I know that domestic abuse is a very different crime than a lot of the other ones where there's sometimes a beginning and an end, and with other crimes, and you're able to go on a clear path of healing, where domestic abuse is something where the victim can go back to the abuser, or maybe have a hard time leaving because of that personal connection. Is that something that you see in group? Do you have women who come in that are still with their abuser? Does support group help them? Do they go back? What does the support group have as a role within their healing journey, since this is much more complicated than other types of crime?
Absolutely. So, a wonderful question once again. And 100%, yes, we do have, once again, we have a mixture, right, of different situations. We do have women who, luckily, with blessings, were absolutely able to put distance between them and the abuser for good and walk away. We do have situations where, even though the person is trying to get that person away, as we know, dealing with these kind of sometimes very narcissistic personalities, it's very difficult for them to kind of get away from those people. And that's where the social workers come in. That's where they have to go to the courts and get restraining orders. We deal a lot with that also. And sometimes then we have the particular space where there is a lot of guilt still that they carry, that, I broke my family. And once again, we gently have to remind them, this was not your fault. You didn't, you never asked for this, you never deserved it, and we cannot control other people's actions. They are an adult, they chose to do this, so it's their responsibility. We have to teach them that this is not your burden to carry. But we definitely have a mixture of different individuals where, like I said, some have reached a stage in their life where they completely have absolutely nothing to do with the abuser any longer, and this is a space they are coming into for their healing process, right? For others, like I said, they are trying to put that distance, but the abuser is, whether be it still stalking them, showing up at their workplace, etc. So that's when we have to step in and make the safety plans, etc. And then we have the space where there is still emotions and there is guilt attached with that emotion, that, Armin, I know I shouldn't be feeling this. I feel like I am being a failure. I feel like I am being defeated, that I still have feelings for the abuser. This is a very good point, once again, where I feel we can educate the individual and putting their mind at ease, that at the end of the day, you are a human being. When you got in a particular relationship with XYZ, you didn't foresee the future, right? And I tell everyone that, let me ask you a simple question. If you could have seen the future, and if you could have somehow known, right, that this person is going to abuse me, right, whether be it physically, verbally, whatever it is, which human knowingly would put themselves in the path of misery, right? So I have to kind of ease their mind with that, hey, you entered this with trust, you entered this with faith, and of course there are going to be emotions attached, right? At the end of the day, you are not the reason why this didn't work out. It was that person's choice, right? So that eases their heart a little bit, that it's okay to carry that emotion, right? Because we didn't make any mistakes. We were just there. We put our trust in someone. They broke it. But our feelings were sincere all along. But also telling them that, hey, now that you know the reality, it was a facade that this person was putting up. That was not who they were. Now that you know, it's okay for you to take the time, but eventually learn to let it go. That this is the best decision for me to keep myself safe, to keep myself protected. I deserve that. right? I deserve that, as does anybody else on this planet. So that's the kind of mixture we have.